Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to All Praise Picks. Today we're looking at the NBA. Pretty good matchup here between two of the best teams in the NBA right now. We have the Thunder playing against the Cavs in Cleveland on January 8th, 2025. So currently the Thunder are the number one team in the Western Conference with a record of 30-5, and the Cavs are the number one team in the Eastern Conference with a record of 31-4. Both these teams are on a 10-plus game win streak, with the Cavs at a 10-game win streak and the Thunder at a 15-game win streak. So it should be a really good game on ESPN, and I'm very excited to watch it. In this video, I have a few parlays for you guys on BetMGM. As always, I'll break down lines, give you my thoughts, and hopefully if you tap in, we can all win. So before I get into the parlays, I'd like to mention that I have a few bonus bet promos for BetMGM as well as Bet365. In our YouTube videos yesterday for the NBA, we did pretty good, especially in the Suns versus Charlotte game. So it's a great way to use those bonus bet promos and essentially have free bets. On BetMGM, you can get a $100 bonus bet, and on Bet365, it's a $50 bonus bet. So more info on that is in the YouTube description, and if you're in the States highlighted above, you'll be able to sign up. So now getting into the parlays, this is the first parlay that I have at minus 115. I have SGA for over 25 points, as well as Evan Mobley for over 7 rebounds, and Jalen Williams to have over 5 rebounds and 3 assists in the game. Looking at SGA, I think that this is a really good scoring matchup for him. The Cavs on the season give up the 3rd most points to the point guard position, as well as the 6th most threes. And over the last 7 games, they've given up the 7th most points to the point guard position, and that is SGA's position. And he has been dominating the Cavs, as well as just playing very well lately. When you look at his history versus the Cavs, he's gone over 30 points in 3 straight games, scoring 43, 34, and 35 points. And in his last 5 games this season, he's gone over 29 points in each of those games. Scoring 33 versus the Celtics and 33 versus the Knicks, as well as 29, 40, and 35 in the 3 games before that. So I do like his chances for over 25 points here. He'll be the leading scorer for Oklahoma City, and I don't really see the Cavs being able to stop him, especially with his ability to get to the free throw line and just make a lot of mid-range shots. I think if they're guarding him one-on-one, he has a scoring advantage, and he should be able to get over 25 points like he has in his history versus the Cavs, as well as in his last 3 games. Also, like Evan Mobley for over 7 rebounds. He has a pretty good matchup here. The Thunder give up the 3rd most rebounds to the power forward position this season, as well as the 3rd most over the last 15 games. And the Thunder are just overall aren't really a good rebounding team. They're a good defensive team, but they struggle rebounding. I think they're top 5s in number of rebounds allowed generally in the NBA. And Evan Mobley, as well as Jared Allen, are probably the best rebounders for the Cavs. I do like Evan Mobley's matchup here more than Jared Allen. I think against Isaiah Hartenstein, he has a good physical matchup, and his scoring ability overall will likely lead to him having more minutes on the floor, which will increase his offensive usage as well as his chances for rebounds. Looking at his history versus OKC, he's gone over 7 rebounds in 4 out of the last 5 games, and he's also gone over 7 rebounds in 4 out of his last 5 games this season. And he has a good stretch of going over 7 rebounds, especially if he plays more than 30 minutes. And I do expect him to play more than 30 minutes in this game. Now looking at Jalen Williams for over 5 rebounds and 3 assists. So the Cavs are pretty poor against the power forward position when it comes to rebounds allowed. On the season, they give up the 4th most rebounds to the power forward position. So Mobley and Jalen Williams have pretty good matchups when it comes to rebounding. And Jalen Williams has just been kind of like the do-it-all guy for the Thunder. SGA is more of a scorer, but Jalen Williams is great at facilitating, and he's pretty good defensively as well, which leads to his rebound chances in the game. In his last 5 games, he's gone over 5 rebounds in 3 out of the 5 games. And he's also gone over 3 assists in each game. So I do like his assists a little bit more than his rebounding. But I do think that with this game being probably a more defensive game, his chances for rebounds and his time on the floor will increase, which will lead to him having a good chance of over 5 rebounds and 3 assists. So at minus 125, if you best one unit on this parlay, you have a potential investment of about 80%. I put half a unit on this parlay, and as always, have bankroll consciousness and understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets, if you do decide to place it with me. Now looking at really the same guys, SGA, Evan Mobley, and Jalen Williams, it's pretty similar to the previous parlay. At minus 110, I have SGA for 25 points and Mobley for 7 rebounds, like I mentioned before. But here I have Jalen Williams for over 5 assists rather than 3 assists, and I took off his rebounding just in case he doesn't get over 5 rebounds. But like I mentioned, I do like his assists more than his rebounding. He has gone over 5 assists in 4 out of his last 5 games, recording 5, 5, 7, and 8 assists. And in the one game that he didn't have over 5 assists, he had 4 assists. So I think that his floor for assists is pretty stable. And I think that if he plays over 30 minutes, he would have a good chance of getting over 5 assists, whether that comes from SGA scoring or Hartenstein in the post as well. So at minus 110, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, you have a potential return on investment of about 90%. I put half a unit on this parlay just because of the overlapping factors of the previous parlay and this parlay. But as always, have bankroll management and understanding your finances when deciding to place these bets if you decide to place it with me. So this is a 2-leg scoring parlay that I have at plus 140. I have SGA for over 25 points and Donovan Mitchell for over 25 points. Speaking on Donovan Mitchell, I think that he should be the leading scorer for the Cavs in this game. The Thunder are pretty good at defending the point guard position, which is Darius Garland, when it comes to points allowed. They give up the fewest points this season as well as the second fewest points over the last 15 games. But I do think that Donovan Mitchell should have a good chance of scoring, especially if the Thunder play him one-on-one. In games that he's played over 30 minutes, he's recorded over 20 points in 4 out of those 5 games and over 25 points in his last 2 games versus the Lakers and the Nuggets. And also, in his games versus OKC, with the Cavs, he scored 20 points and 43 points. So I kind of do lean towards his 43-point game rather than his 20-point game. You could take this bet at Donovan Mitchell to score 20 points at a lower price overall, but I just like his chances for over 25 points because I do think that he'll be taking a lot more shots in this game. With this game being a primetime game, you kind of see Donovan Mitchell getting up for these games, and it really just depends on the defensive coverage that he faces. But if it is one-on-one coverage, I do like his chances for, one, just making space off of the three-point line, but also getting to the free throw line. In his last 5 games, he's attempted at least 8 threes in those games, and he's made at least 3 threes in each of those games. And he's also gone to the free throw line more frequently than he has previously this season. In his last 3 games, he's gone to the free throw line at least 5 times, and he is a pretty good shooter overall, so I do trust him to make those free throws. So at plus 140, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, you have a potential return on investment of 140%. I put half a unit on this parlay, and as always, have bankroll management and understanding your finances when deciding to place these bets if you decide to place it with me. So these next 2 parlays are focused really on Darius Garland to go under his points. I do like his role as an assister more so than a scorer in this game. So on the left side at plus 150, I have Donovan Mitchell for over 20 points and Darius Garland to go under 19 points in this game. And then on the right side at plus 140, I have Evan Mobley to score 15 points and Darius Garland to go under 19 points. So like I mentioned before, the Thunder are really good at defending the point guard position and limiting points. On the season, they give up the fewest points to the point guard position and the second fewest points over the last 15 games. And Darius Garland doesn't really have a good history versus the Thunder. In his last 3 games, he's gone over 19 points in 2 out of the 3 games. And in the one game they went over, he had 31 points on 23 shots. And I just don't really see him taking 23 shots unless he's super efficient in this game. But with how good the Thunder's defense has been this season, I like him for under 19 points, as well as for Donovan Mitchell to score over 20 points. Now focusing on Evan Mobley to score over 15 points, I do think that with his increased playing time, he will have a greater chance of scoring, and just more minutes overall leads to more shot potential. He's also gone over 15 points in his last 3 games and over 15 points in 9 out of his last 10 games. So I do think that if he is on the floor defending the power forward in Jalen Williams or the center in Isaiah Hartenstein, he has a good chance of going over 15 points. Also in his last 5 games versus OKC, he's gone over 15 points in 4 of those 5 games. And in the one game that he didn't go over 15 points, he had 14 points. So I do think that his scoring floor is there. And if he is taking shots, or at least more shots than Darius Garland than I expect, he should be able to get 15 points in this game. So at plus 115 and plus 140, I put about 40% of a unit on each of these parlays. As always, have bankroll management and understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets if you do decide to place it with me. So these next 2 parlays are rebounding parlays. I have Hartenstein, the center for the Thunder, to have over 10 rebounds, as well as Evan Mobley to have over 10 rebounds. Continuing on with Evan Mobley, I just think that he'll have increased playing time. Jared Allen isn't really the best matchup for Hartenstein, and while he may be on the floor to start the game, I kind of see his likelihood of getting to foul trouble higher than Evan Mobley's, which will lead to more chances for Evan Mobley to get rebounds, especially with the starting unit and the second unit. In his last 5 games versus OKC, he's gone over 10 rebounds in 4 out of the 5 games, recording 15, 11, 12, and 17 rebounds. And in the one game that he went under, he had 5 rebounds. But I just think that his rebounding potential is there, and it's a pretty good plus price at plus 125 for both centers to have over 10 rebounds. Now looking at Isaiah Hartenstein, he has a pretty good rebounding matchup in this one too. The Cavs give up the most rebounds to the center position over the last 7 games. the second most over the last 15 games and the seventh most over the last 30 games. So I do like his chances for over 10 rebounds. They also are pretty poor at defending center when it comes to their assist potential. So I do think that Hartenstein could be great in the pick and roll and could lead to a lot of assists, which would just lead to more playing time for him. Hartenstein has also gone over 9 rebounds in his last 10 games, and with the increased playing time that I expect him to have, I like his chances for over 10 rebounds. So at plus 125, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, you have a potential return on investment of 125%. As always, have bankroll management and understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets, if you do decide to place it with me. So continuing on with the rebounding, here I have Jared Allen instead of Evan Mobley for over 10 rebounds, but I also have SGA for over 5 assists and Darius Garland for over 5 assists, as well as Hartenstein, who I spoke upon before, for over 10 rebounds at plus 165. Taking a look at Jared Allen, he is their center for the Cavs, and he has also gone over 9 rebounds in his last 5 games. But I like Evan Mobley more than Jared Allen just because Jared Allen can tend to get into foul trouble. But he does have pretty good history versus the Thunder. Granted, this was against Chet Holmgren rather than Isaiah Hartenstein, but he recorded 6 rebounds, 9 rebounds, 11 rebounds, and 13 rebounds in back-to-back games versus OKC. So going over 10 rebounds in 3 out of the 5 games versus OKC. But it really is just dependent on the amount of playing time he gets. In his last 5 games, just generally speaking, he hasn't gone over 30 minutes in 3 out of the 5 games. So I do think that this is more minute dependent rather than just his rebounding ability, which is why I put about the same amount on both these parlays. But at plus 165, now this is a higher odds parlay, which just means that it's inherently more risky. I also like SGA and Darius Garland for over 5 assists. And my thought process here is that if Hartenstein and Allen are on the floor, the lob potential as well as like the inside dump offs into a dunk is very high, and Darius Garland and SGA will be the facilitators in that role. SGA has also gone over 5 assists in 4 out of his last 5 games, and Darius Garland has gone over 5 assists in each game that he's played against OKC. He's actually gone over 8 assists in his last 5 games versus OKC, so that kind of goes with what I was saying with him being more of a facilitator rather than a scorer in this game. So at plus 165, if you invest 1 unit on this parlay, you have a potential return on investment of 165%, and I put about 40% of a unit on this parlay. As always, have bankroll management and understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets, if you do decide to place it with me. So this parlay here that I have is focused on center assist and 3-point makers. So I have Hartenstein and Evan Mobley for over 3 assists in this game, as well as Lou Dort and Donovan Mitchell to make over 2 3-pointers. And my thought process here is that if the game is higher scoring, there could be a lot of defensive collapses when it comes to transition defense, which will lead to 1 3-point shooting. And I do think that Lou Dort and Donovan Mitchell are the best 3-point shooters for OKC and the Cavs respectively. But I also like Evan Mobley and Hartenstein's assist potential here. Hartenstein, like I mentioned before, has been involved with the pick and roll, and he's gone over 3 assists in 4 out of his last 5 games. And in his games versus Cleveland, he's gone over 3 assists in 3 out of the 5 games. And granted, those games were with the Knicks when he was playing with the Knicks. But I do like his involvement with the offense and do think that he has a good chance of getting over 3 assists. Now looking at Evan Mobley, he has been a lot more involved with the Cavs offense, but specifically in his games versus OKC, he's gone over 3 assists in 3 out of his last 6 games versus OKC. And while he has had a little bit of a slump in terms of his assist potential in his last 4 games, in the 4 games beforehand, he recorded at least 2 assists in 5 straight games. So I do think that he could be more involved as a offensive mismatch, which will lead to more assist potential. And I chose Lou Dort and Donovan Mitchell to make 2 threes. Like I mentioned, they're the best 3-point shooters for both their teams, and I do expect them to take at least 5 threes. And I would be surprised if Donovan Mitchell doesn't make 2 threes. But if Lou Dort doesn't make 2 threes, it's likely because he just doesn't take a lot of shots in this game. So at plus 200, I put only 30% of a unit on this parlay for a potential return on investment of 200%. As always, have bankroll management and understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets, if you do decide to place it with me. So this is the last parlay that I have. It's a long shot parlay for this game. I'm excited to watch this game, so just put 20% of a unit on this parlay at plus 850. I have SGA for over 25 points, Donovan Mitchell for over 20 points, Darius Garland for 5 assists, Jalen Williams for 5 rebounds, Evan Mobley for 7 rebounds, the Cavs to win the first half, and the Thunder to keep the game close, essentially not to lose the game by more than 11 points, and the game to go under 240.5 points. I spoke upon most of these player legs, but I do think that the Cavs have an advantage being at home, and they have been playing pretty well. They've won 10 straight games, and while the competition level, especially recently, hasn't been as high for the Cavs, I do think that playing at home will give them energy, and they have a good chance of winning the first half. But I do think that the Thunder will keep the game close. They're pretty good at second half adjustments, and I don't really see the Thunder losing this game by more than 11 points. While the Cavs are rested, they've been at home since, I think, January 5th. The Thunder just played against the Celtics in a pretty defensive matchup in OKC and now have to travel to Cleveland. But OKC usually does play well in these primetime spots as well. And while this game is on the road, I do think that they would keep the game close enough to not lose by more than 11 points. As I mentioned before, both these teams are really good defensively. That's probably why they're the number one teams in the West and the East, respectively. But I do think this game could go under 240.5 points. I do lean towards the Cavs winning this game, but also I just lean towards it being a great game overall, and I'm excited to see if this bet hits. So at plus 850, if you invest 1 year on this parlay, you have a potential return investment of 850%. As always, have bankroll management and understanding of your finances when deciding to place these bets if you do decide to place it with me. So those are parlays that I have. Be sure to check out the BetMGM and Bet365 bonus promos in the YouTube description below. And if you're in these states highlighted above, you'll be able to utilize those promos for a total bonus of $150, $100 from BetMGM, and $50 from Bet365. So check out the YouTube description if you're interested. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Be sure to like and comment on my video, as well as share and subscribe to my channel. I really do this just for the enjoyment of sports investments and just watching sports overall. I do think that we have a pretty good matchup on our hands later on tonight. But until next time, guys, appreciate you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more NBA and NFL videos coming out later this week. And until next time, peace.